guess Google isn't a monopoly anymore. That's essentially what the judge's ruling in this Google lawsuit is now saying, because Google no longer has to sell off Chrome or Android. That's what people were pushing for. That's the whole reason this went to court. But it doesn't have to happen anymore. And I think this is a pretty big blow to consumers, and it's a pretty big win for big tech and for Google. Amit Mehta, who is the judge that's been overseeing this case in Washington, has ruled that Google does not have to sell Chrome or Android, which is obviously a huge relief for Google and its investors because those are key parts of its business. But Google now does have to share data, its search and advertising data, with its rivals, which is, still a pretty big deal. But I, along with a lot of other people, I think that consumers were actually going to get a win here, and that it was likely that Google was going to have to sell off Chrome or other sides of the business. The stock jumped up with this news. Google stock was up over 7%. Apple stock was up over 3% because Apple can carry on collecting their $20 billion a year that Google was paying them. They can't now enter exclusive contracts, but they can continue collecting that money by making Google the default on iPhones, which is insane. The judge explained that his decision was because of AI and ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, all these different platforms have risen in the last 5 years, and that means that Google is already losing market share. There's no point in coming down with the hammer on them so hard anyway. I think that's really poor. That's a really poor reasoning because we know that users use defaults for a reason, and Google are still going to have a massive share of the market. That is just a given. It's going to happen. It's going to stay that way. Sure, in another 5-10 years, ChatGPT, Claude, and all these different things are going to have a bigger market share, but that's going to be in another 5-10 years. The big problem is that these rulings take this long. With this ruling starting 5 years ago, look how much tech has changed just in that time. I think it's a real shame, and ultimately, the consumers are the ones losing at the end of the day. It's less choice and it's less pressure on big tech, because I think this kind of sets the scene for other lawsuits that Google have got going on, that Apple have got going on, that it's kind of a slap on the wrist when it should be a lot more than that. This has not gone the way I expected, but I'd be interested to know what you think of this news. Did you think that we ever stood a chance, consumers against big tech? I think this was our biggest chance as consumers, as the little guy against big tech, but I think this does just set the stage now for the future.